Hey friends, welcome to the Empowered Homes Parent and Marriage Weekend. The purpose of this weekend is to grow strong families by connecting church and home. And as a reminder, is all the resources that we're going to talk about today, other breakout sessions, articles, podcasts, can be found on empoweredhomes.org. Well, today we're going to talk about a subject called Kids Can, and I'm joined by some great friends and leaders. And instead of me introducing the topic, we are going to jump right in. So Sarah, full-time mom, 3 girls, busy life.
Yes.
Last year, you wrote one of probably our most popular articles on Empowered Homes titled Kids Can, the basics of this discussion. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Sure. As the primary faith and really life trainers of our kids, Stephen and I wanted to parent very intentionally with the time that we had with our kids. And we really came to the realization that we are not raising kids. They're already kids. We are raising adults. So we asked ourselves the question as parents, how do we combat a society and a culture that champions entitlement and selfishness? And the answer for us was to create an environment in our home where kids can.
Man, that's great, right? A key point is love is we're not raising kids. That's who they already are. We're raising adults.
Right.
And then how can we build that sense of responsibility and ownership in them? Bobby, you've been in ministry for 15 years and more, but I think more pertinent to this conversation, you're married, your wife Jen, y'all have 3 kids. There's a theme of 3 kids on this side of the table. And I know you work with a lot of kids and especially a lot of parents, right? And as a parent, when we think of Kids Can in this environment of fostering this, undoubtedly there's some obstacles to doing this. What are some that you and Jen have seen?
So case in point would be, when you have chaos around your home, you got diapers, you've got schedules, you've got routines, you've got all these things. Sometimes it's just easier and faster for me to just do it myself because it's going to get done right. And then on top of that, we have expectations of it being done the way we want it to be done. I'm a structure, we have organization, we put our tools back where they go. The other day, my son, we were working on a project in the house and I said, go put all the tools back. And he just kind of set them in the garage. I had to pull him back out and show him and go through this process. It could have taken me 3 seconds and I would have got it done, but I'm not teaching, I'm not training. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the huge obstacles is stopping ourselves from just doing things for our kids and allowing them to step into something and being okay if it's not done exactly to my specs. So that's a huge one.
I know that just like with so like cleaning countertops in our home. I know I went in there and I was looking at it and they are dark, so it's kind of hard to see, but you just run your hand over it and you're just like, somebody did not do their job. And so instead of just wiping it down really quick, it's just like you said, I had to call them all the way back down. And then we went over how to clean a countertop, how to check that it was clean, and just having them have a standard of what their job should have been done correctly, how it should have been done correctly, and just making them accountable too, just like you said. Don't go and do it for them, even though you told them to do it, and they kind of did it. You want to make sure that they are accountable for a standard of how they should be doing things. So.
It's tricky as a stay-at-home mom, too, to give them responsibility because I kind of felt like that was my responsibility as not doing anything. This was my job, was to take care of the house and take care of the kids. And it took a while for me to snap that. Mm-hmm. Part of my job was to train them to do it and not always just do it for them.
Yeah. Another question just this thinking of as you're talking is the balance between you want your kid to do something, but then you have your certain way.
Yep.
Right? As I remember in our family, it is my grandmother, who raised me for a while, wanted towels folded an exact way. Right?
There's a right way.
Well, 5-year-old Brad didn't really know how to do that well, but I had still attempted to fold the towels. And so from your experience, where's that, hey, they're trying, but it's not exactly your way. Where's the middle ground, Bobby, that you would say probably in there?
Yeah, I think one, it's got to be age appropriate, right? Like you said, 5 folding towels. Like I've got a 5-year-old. He's not close to being able to fold the towel the way we want. So sometimes our expectations based off of what we're asking them to do, Charlie, go change the oil. dude, you know, like it's not. So you got to manage your expectations as a parent to make sure what you're asking them they can accomplish. Because ultimately, if you ask them to do something, they fail, then you're not setting them up, you're not training them. And so I think that's a key to balancing. The other side is you've got to take a deep breath and release and let go. You know, the rug's not going to be as vacuumed as good as mom would, or the house. So I think there is this sense of letting go for the greater good, you know, let go for the short term, so that you're instilling these things in your kids that are going to last them for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
I think we should also ask ourselves a question as parents. Is this a standard or is this a preference?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
If it's a standard, that's a good teaching moment. If it's a preference, maybe just let it ride.
Maybe.
The socks don't have to match.
Yeah, you know.
Well, it's important too to tell them why, not just say this is the way it's done, but explain the dishwasher. You know, if you put that plate on the side facing the side, it's never going to get clean because no water splashes over there. So explaining why you do it the way you do it sometimes.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I learned something.
Come to my house, they'll teach you to load a dishwasher.
Well, you know, so Laura, you know, once again, full-time mom, you know, lead a growing preschool ministry, three great girls. And Bobby mentioned sort of age-appropriate tasks, and you even have experience being an elementary teacher. Is so for you, for those parents that's saying, I want to do this, right? Maybe we haven't been doing it. I want to do it. I want to implement a kids can environment in my home. What are some age-appropriate tasks that you would recommend to those parents?
Sure. So I know Sarah, she has a great breakdown in her article of age-appropriate tasks for all of her kiddos. One of the things that I did for my kids was I made sure that, like, for example, their dishes. If they can't unload the dishwasher and put things up, if it's all the way up there. So they have a drawer that is totally dedicated to all the plasticware, all the silverware, all the little things that they have that they use, so that then, I mean, they can be 2 and they can start putting things away. And so I didn't have to wait until they were tall enough, because by then they don't want to unload the dishwasher at all. At 2, they still want to help you out.
A little bit.
A little bit. And then they also fostered their independence because they were able to get bowls out and help get breakfast ready for cereal. And so it just making sure that you make things accessible for them as you're teaching them all the things that they can do. Another thing that I started that another mom shared with me was chore training. I don't know, in my house, like, sweeping is just the chore that everybody dreads. They don't want to do it.
Me too.
They hate doing it. And so instead of giving them the chore of sweeping for the rest of their lives, because eventually they will do it for the rest of their lives, they only have to do it for a month at a time. And then, like, my oldest Georgia will train Lorelai on how to sweep the kitchen appropriately. And then if there is a standard that has not been met, because I don't care anything on preference on that, the crumbs need to be off of the floor.
Yes.
And so, then I can come back, and instead of me having to reteach, I can say, hey, Georgia, come show Lorelai again how to sweep, because I think that she's missing out a little bit on the right way to do it. And so so that's just even more teaching them that they can do things and they can teach other people. So
Yeah, I think a key part of age-appropriate training as well is teaching your kids initiative, right? It's within this kids can, this ownership. What ways have you tried to foster in your homes teaching your kid to do something that needs to be done before you ask them to do it?
Wow.
What do you think, Bobby?
That's a tough one. So my oldest is trash. That's his thing. He's got to take the trash.
His chore is trash.
His chore is trash. So
His identity.
that's not who he is. His is trash. And so I've told him, I'm not putting the trash cans away when you get home from school. If the trash cans are flipped over, it's your job to bring them in. And so there's weeks where it's not been done. And so Charlie forgot to but whenever they are done, I make it a point, hey, buddy, thank you for doing that. I noticed that you took initiative. I didn't have to tell you to do it. Thank you. And it's as simple as that, of just affirming that he did well. He did what we asked him to do, and he accomplished it. And so for us, that's just one simple way that I try to be intentional with. When I see it, I say something about it.
We just really tried to instill in our girls a sense of team and the importance of their role in our family. And so just to try to open their eyes to see things that need to be taken care of without us having to tell them. It's not a foolproof method, but I think just feeling a part of the family team is huge.
And just like if I'm doing something and they see me doing it, like folding clothes or unloading the dishwasher, I have encouraged them, and they've started doing it too, just to come and automatically start helping. Don't just sit there and talk to me, because I do want to talk to you, but help me too while I'm doing it. And so that's been really big.
Yeah. I know a portion of the initiative and sort of thinking for themselves is sometimes you have to allow them to suffer some consequences.
Yep.
Right? I know for one of my kids, they're responsible for their laundry, and his was piling up. And I knew he had a basketball game that weekend, and his uniform was in that laundry basket dirty. And my wife and I didn't say anything. And he went to his 7th grade basketball game smelling like trash, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's the balance too of sometimes it's okay for them to feel some consequences of that, right?
Yeah, and with the teamwork of knowing, hey, this is a team, and what we're asking you to do affects all of us. And so if Charlie doesn't take the trash out, we've got trash piling up. Or if he's not doing it, so letting them feel a little bit of pressure as a team of saying, hey, we're relying on you, buddy, or whatever. We're relying on you to do this because it's part of our home. I think that's a huge.
Natural consequences are a great teacher.
Yeah.
Great teacher.
Yeah, and I think, what Sarah, what you and Bobby both have said is the teamwork is sometimes that means for us as parents, as we adjust our role. Right? Your kids get older. I know my older son sometimes will come home and have 3 or 4 hours of homework. Right? Well, on that night, we're a team. Maybe I'm unloading the dishwasher. That's usually his job to show him support. Right? Here, buddy, I understand you have this. And so it's a teamwork that goes both ways. And so I think you guys bring up a good point with that. Sarah, one of the things that I love about your article is of course, kids can, or chores and responsibilities, but you moved it also to relationships, right? With friends and teachers and coaches and them being advocates for themselves. So can you share a little bit about kids can, externally in relationships?
Sure. Well, I think innately as parents, we're designed to want to protect our kids. We say we want the best for them. So what does that really mean? Does that mean that we want them to always win?
Yes.
Or to
No problem.
or to never experience pain or hardship? Or are we really preparing them for adult life? And so we have always taught our kids to first try to handle things themselves, to really find the courage and the words to advocate for yourself. And you can do that politely and kindly, but assertively. And if we're rescuing our kids constantly, we are robbing them of that actual developmental skill of problem solving. And I don't think any of us want that for our kids. We don't need to go in and rescue. Then they won't be able to navigate the really difficult situations that happen later in life when they're adults.
We can't rescue them.
Sure, absolutely.
They have a safety net right now.
Right.
So we can be that safety net, but we can also push them into different situations to be able to kind of experience that independence. And one of my favorite things with the kids being real little was they can trade their toy at Chick-fil-A for ice cream. And so they would come to me, ask, will you go take this? And finally, it came a point where they had to go, make eye contact, say what they were wanting to do, and go through that. And then they come back with their chest up, with their ice cream ready, because it's a confidence builder too.
Right.
But we can push them into those situations in a healthy way to be able to accomplish that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to piggyback off of what you said, was that we've always made our girls order or talk to the adults and make conversations, because once they get to where they actually need to talk to a teacher about a problem, they need to be comfortable talking to adults already. And so I remember we were on a road trip and we were at the gas station and the girls were able to pick out a treat. And so I'm over with my other two trying to negotiate what they wanted to get. And my other, Lorelai, was at the checkout, and I walk over after, and the cashier just looks at me. She's like, she is so polite, and she was just able to talk to me, and she's like, she's been the highlight of my day. And I'm like, what did you say to straightforward. She's like, I just asked how her day was going. And,
Yes.
and so, but she felt comfortable enough just to be able to carry on a conversation with just a total stranger. And so I think, building up to that and then being able to continue on, as Sarah was saying, it's really big.
Right.
They do need to be able to stand up for themselves
Sure.
and speak to adults. And so we have to train that at an early age. I know our daughter was taking piano lessons, and you got to give them a safe place to practice these things. And she decided she wanted to quit taking piano lessons. And I said, well, you need to tell Miss Beverly that you want to quit. Well, I know Miss Beverly. She goes to my church. She was going to be loving. I called Miss Beverly and told her ahead of time this was coming, so she knew it. It took Meredith a month to do it. Every week we would get in front of the house, we would pray about it. She would go in, piano lessons, come back, and I'd say, did you tell her? No, I just couldn't do it. But eventually she did it, and Miss Beverly, I knew, was going to love on her and make it okay. But now as an adult, watching her, she just had to remodel at her house, and she came down on those contractors, and it was going to be her way. And it was like, that was quitting piano right there.
Sure, and I think even if we're not rescuing them or doing it for them, it does not at all mean that we're completely hands off and just standing
exactly.
back. We're taking those coaching moments behind the scenes to walk with them through each situation that they go
watching
through.
how they're handling it and
Yeah.
coaching them how to improve next time.
And coaching is huge, because we all know those kids who talk back to adults who are ugly, and they don't know how to interact.
Right.
If they didn't get their way, they throw a big fit in class or whatever it is. And so helping our kids and coaching them, here's how we respectfully address these things. I think that's, it's huge.
So I think, looking at it, kids it's the chores, the part of the teamwork of the house, and then maybe more importantly, the advocating for yourself, right? The kids I can handle my relationships and those with teachers and coaches and friends, and it's going to set me up for life. But Leslie, because you're the sort of the veteran at the table, 2 adult grown children. You've led many years in a children's ministry, and so you've worked with a lot of parents. So for those moms or dads that are watching and they think, number one, I just can't do this, right? I don't have time to do this. It's easier to do it myself. What encouragement would you give to them that, not only kids can, but mom and dad, you can, right? You can do this.
Exactly. It is so important. Just watching my grown-up kids handle life and be responsible for themselves. Every bit of work is worth it, just to watch that. But if you think about it, the work you put up front is going to make your life easier. So my husband is always big on, I'll work hard up front to not have to do maintenance. I'll put in the sprinkler system so I never have to move a sprinkler again. And that's how it is with training your kids to do these things. It's you work up front and then they take over the chore. Now that they've all left home, I'm taking the garbage out again. I need Charlie at my house. I'm unloading the dishwasher. I had to train my husband how to help with the dishwasher now. So we're working hard now. But it's important to give them those jobs at whatever age you are, whatever age your kids are, start giving him responsibility now. I remember my son, I gave him filling up the car. I'm old and I miss the fill her up with unleaded, please, and handing the man my credit card. So I just started doing it backwards. Fill her up with unleaded, and Braston would get out of the car and fill my car up. I realized how much pride he took in that and how cool he felt. So I made sure whenever I needed gas, he had a buddy in the car so I could fill her up with unleaded, and he would hop out and their friends would, you can do that? Yes, fill up my car. I think there's a sign that says don't let him do that, but it's really good. It's an excellent skill. He even one time said, Mom, when I can drive, I'm not going to enjoy doing this, am I? And I said, no, you're really not. And he goes, so I should enjoy it now. Yes, you should. Enjoy filling up the car now. So it's just important that each job you teach them is going to build on the next job. I had a flat tire recently, and I called my son, and before I could even get flat tire out of my mouth, he said, text me where you are, I'm on my way. And he was right there.
That's so
And the
good.
bonus, I got to spend the whole afternoon with him. So
That's
good stuff.
I think
So-
it's also important to realize it's just never too late. Whether your
Never.
kid is 2 or 10 or
Right.
17, just being super intentional with the time that
Yeah.
you have left with them to invest in them.
And it goes so fast.
Mm.
So yeah, just start wherever you are, giving them some responsibility. And it will be some work up front, teaching them how to do it. But then if you get the next one to train down.
The next one to train down.
I like that plan. I'm a little late on that one. But it will then make things easier on you, because once you train them to do it, they take that chore over.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's starting with the end in mind, right?
Yeah.
And I think the premise of Sarah's article that's led to this discussion is we can look at our culture and there's a sense of entitlement. Right? And so how do we combat that as parents from the get-go? And it's really with, hey, my kids can do this in my house, right? For chores, relationships. Mom and dad, it may be a little difficult. There's some obstacles. Towels aren't folded your way. But you know what? We're going to raise adults because they're already kids. But thank you guys for how you parent. Thank you for joining us today. And for moms and dads or other friends that are watching us, thank you for joining us as we talked about Kids Can. And just a reminder for you is that the article, the resources, and plenty of great other content is available on empoweredhomes.org. Would love for you to check that out. Thanks for joining us today.